So now we're going to have Dr. Pamela Grayson. We're going to let you give your speech and your testimony right now and bring us to real life and give us some domestic tips that we can learn from. So, yes, ma'am. Without any further ado, Dr. Pamela Grayson, you have the floor. All ears.
Thank you. And I'm going to share my experience and understand, had it been today, it's an experience that would probably have made me vulnerable to sex traffic or to trafficking as well. And one other thing, we talked about how women dressed. I'm amazed at what we do to our bodies. I have seen these horrible pictures and where they're put implants in their rear ends, and it goes bad. And I just hate that we've allowed a Eurocentric idea or an idea of what beauty is, and that defines us, and we allow it to diminish us to attempt to meet that standard. I'm a big girl, and I'm gonna be that till the end, and that's just what that is. But for me, I'm going to talk about domestic violence. At the age of 12, I was raised in the church, and the First Lady told us to, at the age of 12, pray for a husband. I should have been praying to get through college, praying that I would be sustainable as an individual, praying for my education, but I was told to pray for a husband. And the extent of that was pray for a husband that wears gold that doesn't turn green. Nobody told me to pray for a husband that wouldn't hit me. And then going through college and would come home, the comment was, did you bring a husband home yet? Did you bring a husband home yet? So I got married at the age of 25 with an individual, or to an individual that I knew he had already hit me. But he was convenient. I was carrying his child. And so I married him thinking it would change. We get married, he'll stop. That was absolute foolishness. When my mom made the comment, I got married at the age of 25. She was like, it took us 25 years to get rid of you. She was excited over the wedding, put a lot of money into it. Literally, there were balloons that were decorations at the wedding that lasted longer than the actual marriage. First big fight in our marriage. My parents had been married at that point, probably 20-something years. So I saw their marriage. His parents, his mom was on her third marriage and dad was on the second marriage. So we saw marriage differently. And so he would, to me, we're married. You have at least one joint account so we can pay bills out of that. But he was like, nah, I'll keep my money, you keep yours. Okay. And what's so bad is I made the most money. But okay, you keep yours. And so I said that to say we split the bills. He paid the cable bill. So one day I'm sitting there watching TV, minding my own business, and he sits down demanding the remote. And his comment was, I paid the cable bill. We're married. We live together. And I'm sitting here minding my own business, watching television, and it went bad. For many years, I did not watch that movie, What's Love Got to Do with It? The Ike and Tina Turner story, because I lived it. I know what she saw when Ike was dragging her by her hair down the hallway after he had hit her at the pool, because I was dragged down that hallway. The impact on our son, a baby, a toddler that was only 3 or 4 years old, watching his parents fight, hearing the curse words hurled back and forth. He began to curse. He dropped F-bombs at the age of 3 because he heard his dad say these things. His dad was a true abuser, and that if I decided to go somewhere with friends, he would work to alienate the friends and pick a fight before I go so that I wouldn't go out with the friends because I was bruised or something, embarrassed. So he was alienating me from people. He would attempt to control the money, but again, I made the most. But when he got put out the home for the last time, he wouldn't help me anymore with our child financially. I went to the emergency room so much, they knew me on a name basis. Miss Holmes is here again. Her husband hit her again. It was stressing my child, and it was killing me. I was packing on makeup to hide bruises. There were bruises along my body. We went to counseling, and they point blank told me, you know, Pam, he's either going to maim you or kill you. So this went on for all of about 9 months. Now, I'm going to be real transparent and share something I have never said in public. I was angry with him because I found a note where he was talking to someone, because he was in the Navy, and some little girl was writing him notes telling him how much. So I found one of the notes. And me not being the most mature individual, found the note, and I said, if that's how we gonna roll, I can go do that too. And I went out and started having an affair. I became pregnant. And I genuinely did not know who was the father of that child. I chose to end the pregnancy. And it almost killed me, because when they did that, they left some of the afterbirth in me, and that will kill you. It was a complete mess of my marriage. And the same individual that stood with me through this in college stood through me with this as an adult. And she was my shoulder to cry on, and my place to run. I think being raised in the church, where a single woman at that time was treated as a second-class citizen, you were devalued because you were not married. And I still today have bitterness with the church for that. Long story short, I finally hit the it factor. I'd had enough of it. The police came to my home one last time. They got fly with me because they were tired of coming there. And they threatened to take my child. They said, ma'am, if we got to come back one more time, we're taking your child. That was it. I was not losing my son. And that was my older son, not the one that y'all see today. I got my son out. I packed him and I told my parents what happened. And see, for me, I had an excellent support system in my parents. They point blank told me if this gentleman tried to take that child from me, they would, my daddy said, whoop him up one side and down the other of the courtroom. I got my son out, but I came back because I couldn't move back there and not have a job. So I was trying to get my job together here. And then I was going to move and get out this apartment, and I have to break the lease and so forth. And that is what I did. So even when we did the divorce, the man wouldn't sign the papers. He wouldn't let me out the marriage. He said the only way he would sign the papers is if I said it was my fault for having an affair. Whatever. I wanted out. I sure did. My divorce papers said that. But I had plenty of records at the time to show it wasn't just me. And then we lived in Illinois at the time, and the only way that we could get a divorce when you had minor children was to have to take a class. He refused to go take the class. I couldn't get my divorce. So finally, I moved, and I moved to a different part of Illinois where my parents were. They gave me a home, and I'm getting back on track and going back to work and getting it together. He would come visit. Come to find out, you know, he did things like if he moved out of the home, he got put out the home because the Navy and the police will put you out the home if you can't act right. The Navy has the highest rate of domestic violence of all of the armed services. So he got put out. The electric bill was in his name. He would call the electric company to have the power shut off. Phone bill was in his name. Whatever bill was in his name, he would turn the services off. Well, I beat him one time. The electric was in his name, and I called in and said I was him and put a password on the account. And so he had to go through hell and high water to get it off that time. But then I knew to put it in my name and just leave it there. And he did a whole lot of lying. He got hit with apartment fees and all this other kind of stuff and said I did it, and I didn't even know about it. He was just a horrible individual. So like I said, I moved to another part of Illinois. We get it together, and he's just bitter. One of his naval friends called me and told me, they were like, you know, he's so bitter. I can't help that, because the way you did me, the pictures I just threw away maybe 2 years ago, and this happened in the 90s, but black eye, busted lip, all of that. The one thing I have learned to understand is you appreciate your support system. And the one thing I would say is if you know somebody in an abusive relationship, don't say I told you so. Don't say you need to leave him, because the abuser will mentally break us down. He made me feel so ugly. And I'm overweight, so he definitely made me feel fat, unattractive. I couldn't understand why his friends, when they knew he had to spend one night on the base, his friends would come to our apartment, make up reasons. I didn't understand that, because again, he made me feel so unattractive. And it was after the final time they had put him out of the home. He would always call me the B word, bitch. And on a good day, when he was creative, I'm a big rotund bitch. But the final time they put him out of the home, God came in. He reminded me who I was and that it was going to be okay. I could move forward. My parents handled it wonderfully. They kind of got iffy there, you know, why don't you come on home and that type of thing. But here's the thing, I still loved him. And I was trained, your marriage is supposed to last. But eventually I got out of it, because I saw that if I'm gonna lose my child, you're not worth keeping. And so I did leave my marriage. Unlike most people though, I had resources. I had parents that could give me a home to stay in. They would take care of me until I could get on my feet. But not everyone has that. And those are the people that I hurt for. And I have a good friend, she went through it, her significant other brutalized her. She had to go stay in a shelter with her children for 2 years until she could get back on her feet. The key thing I say to the community, don't emotionally or spiritually beat down the woman that has already been physically beat down. She's broken. Put her back together. And I say this with any Christian or anyone that worships God, Allah, it's not our job to judge. Be a support. We know they messed up. They know they messed up. I know I messed up. Let me work that out with the Creator, and you just support. Have resources, you know, a daycare that's cost effective. My parents found it. They worked it out. My child could go to the best daycare in the area, and I could work 55 miles away because we were in a remote area. But that's the support we need as a community, as women, as specifically Black women. Support me in that bad relationship, even if you don't approve of it. And that's the key thing I want you to take away. Yeah, she's gonna keep messing up. And if you got to go get the kids, go get the kids. But that woman has to have, she has to hit the it factor. She has to want to get out of it. And when that happens, definitely help her stay out of it. So that is my sharing for today. And like I said, you all know the resources that's out there, the shelters that we can go to, the counseling that is needed. And we all know the availability of these services. But the key thing, please, if you see a woman going through it, don't make her feel any worse or any more downtrodden than she already has been by that abuser. Because trust me, that abuser has said some stuff to her. That man broke me, made me feel unworthy. But today, I'll whoop his butt. So I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you so much for allowing me to share with you all.
Yes, ma'am.